All right, guys, let's take a look at some of the most important matchups in week one. So we've got a couple divisional matchups coming up. We're going to start off with Earth So Good, Papa Giorgio. This is probably the worst division in the league, but these two teams are both, I would say, dogs to Moneymaker's team, and winning this one's going to matter a little bit. I'm curious as to who will be in these slots for Papa Giorgio, tight end, kicker, defense. Depending on what he's able to pull from the wire here, you know, that's going to change quite a bit. And getting this win is going to be pretty important because I think that, especially among these teams, in order to have a chance to make the playoffs or especially to win the division, one of these two teams is going to have to 2-0 the other one. I think Giorgio's a pretty big favorite, assuming that he locks up decent value at these spots. But if he misses pretty hard at 2 or even just one of these, maybe there'll be a door open for Earth So Good to take a shot there. This is probably the most important matchup in the league, most interesting matchup in the league here. This is what I expect the championship week to have a good shot of being here. We got Out of Luck and Dylan Panthers. Just taking a look at these, we got Dylan Panthers favored pretty heavily, and I think part of that is just this stupid, ridiculous roster that he's got of starters. Bad time to play him at the very beginning of the season when there are no bye weeks or injuries, when he gets to play just this ridiculous roster. So it's going to be tough for Out of Luck to contend this first week. I believe... Yeah, so these guys are playing out-of-division games, Moneymakers and Elementary Red Deer Watson. Both these are good teams, but they're playing out-of-division. Probably not as important of a matchup. We got a nice dud from Adams there in week one against the Bears. These guys are playing in division, and this is an important matchup for sure. If SoFlo Ragatrons can steal this one from Ridge to Rocket, that would help quite a bit. I think this is Ridge to Rocket's week to lose, especially now with the Bears defense only getting 9. They could have got quite a bit more than that if they'd played a little bit better. Man, I wish I would have managed that game a little bit better. I think they could have beat the Packers. All right, let's take a look at Bizarro Stormy and whatever happened to Michael Vick. This is going to be a fairly key matchup as well because this is going to position whichever team is going to have the best shot at unseating a team with no name. A team has no name, rather. I've got this pretty close. I think this is closer than it looks on here. We've got the empty kicker slot here for Bizarro Stormy, so whatever they throw in there should tip the scales a little bit. Assuming the kicker's worth like 8 or 9 points, this is going to be a chalk game. It's going to be pretty close. It's going to be hard to or scratch game, I guess. Pick 'em if you want. Should be pretty interesting. If it was next week, I would say that Bizarro Stormy might have the advantage here with Elliott coming back, but I wouldn't play Elliott this week myself, I don't think. Let's take a look last. A team has no name and can't spell team without tight end. I expect this to be a little bit of a beating this week. Even though Rodgers had a bad week, I think Matt Ryan's matchup is pretty bad. I guess maybe Diggs won't play. If Diggs doesn't play, this could be a little more interesting. This is not a divisional game, but I think either of these teams could use the win. Rascal, she's going to try to seal up one of those buys. She's going to want to not drop any games to any of the weaker teams. And then can't spell team without tight end. They're going to need to rack up some wins that are unexpected early in the season. I have them as one of the teams in the bracket with my team, Earth So Good, as one of the weaker teams in the league. Too bad for Josh Lewis. Nice thing for him, he does have what I think is probably the first or second best team in the other league he's in with me. So he can rejoice at that roster instead and prepare for next season with this one. Anyways, again, I think Earth So Good, Papa Giorgio is a good one to watch. Out of Luck and Dylan Panthers. SoFlo Ragatrons and Ridge to Rocket and Bizarro Stormy, whatever happened to Michael Vick, all going to be important for who's going to be in, poised to. Here, it's going to be looking at, the favorite, possibly the winner here. And then the rest of these, actually all 3 of these I've got at least these 2, at least Earth So Good, Papa Giorgio, and Bizarro Stormy, whatever happened. I've got them as, these are the 2 and the 3 teams facing off, so getting the win here is going to be fairly key. It's going to put you in a position where you can try to compete with the team that's the best in your division, and I think it's pretty important early in the season, especially to, come out and get a couple wins early. It changes how you can, what kind of moves you can make with your roster and whether or not you're desperate for wins. And in this game right here, we've got the SoFlo Ragatrons and Rich Rocket. These are the two teams I think have the best chance to win this division, so this is like a lot like the Out of Luck and Dylan Panthers matchup. But I think in this division, only one team's going to be able to get out because I think the teams are a little bit too. I don't know. I don't see two teams coming out of this division. So I think winning these early matchups, winning these head-to-head matchups is going to be important. So we'll see what happens week 1, and hopefully we'll have some interesting things to report.